Masechta Shavous, the Vav Amud Aleph is starting from 6 lines from the top. So yesterday we learned when it comes to Maris Negoyim to combine two different Maris together in order to be chayiv, to be tamei. The Maris should make the person tamei. You need the size of a gris, of a bean. So Rabbi, Okay. So he says the size of a bean, and you can add two colors together. So which two colors could you add? So the Mishnah, when you learn it, it's the Av and it's Tulda. What are the Avis? The Avis are those that are befeidish written in the Torah. What are the two Maris that are befeidish written in the Torah? Baheres and Seis. What are the Tuldas of Baheres? Seed, line, and then the Tulda of Seis is Kreim Habeya, is the membrane that goes around the egg. So the Gemara said that the Mishnah says that Av, what it's told, it could be combined. But according to Rabbi Akiva, no. Rabbi Akiva doesn't learn that way. He says it goes according to the order of the colors. The order of the colors. Yeah, first, Baheris is the shiniest one, then Seis, Seis, then goes Seed, and then goes Kreim Beya. That's how he learns. So, where do we find the Makar that Rabbi Akiva doesn't combine the Av with the Tullah, rather he combines with the one darga above it, with the color right above it. So the Gemara, if you want to say Mahad Tanya from this that we learned in the Braisa, Rabbi Yossi had said, Show Yeshua b'nei Rabbi Akiva. Yeshua is the son of Rabbi Akiva. Who is this Rabbi Yeshua? Says Rabbi Yeshua. It says Rashi, Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha. Why was Rabbi Akiva called Karcha? Because it says he was bald. He was bald. That's why
he had a son called Yeshua.
Rabbi Yeshua, here he says that Shal Yeshua ben Rabbi Akiva. Which Yeshua is it? Rabbi Yeshua ben Karcha. What does it mean ben Karcha?
It's a saint.
Rabbi Akiva
is called Yeshua.
Yeshua, but I want to bring out ben Karcha. He wasn't called ben Rabbi Akiva. He was called ben Karcha. Why was he called ben Karcha? Because Rabbi Akiva was bald. Zog the Yevada, Nepnei Ma'amru Maris Nagabish.
He was bald in the front and the back.
For what? Okay. So the Gemara asks what? So he asked him like this: why does it say Maris Negoyim Shnayim Shein Arba? So Amalei Rabbi Akiva says, what should you say? What's your kasha? He's asking. Zog the kasha, zog with bakteina, like my father used to say. Zog with the details. You're not really saying the kasha, even if it's about say. So he says, no, I'll just say it more clear. The Gemara at Bechlal, the Gemara usually learns b'derech tzara in a short way. Instead of detailing all the colors, say like this: Yoimru mikroim beyo lamayla tamei. Any color that's brighter than the kroim of a bay, than the membrane of an egg, is tamei, and that's lowest. And anything lower than that is not tamei. That's it. You could have avoided all these details, all the matters Baheres and Baheres Ace. You
can
see.
You hold the Krumbeya with any other color above it?
Any color above it is going to be Matabit. That's what you have to say. So, what does he want to teach us? The reason why he mentioned all of them, because he wanted to tell you that you combine two different colors together to make the shear of a gris, that it should be the bean size, that it should be make the person tamei from tziras. Amalei Yeshua said, okay, I hear you. You want to bring up that it's mitzvah? Any color from kroim beya and above is tamei. Is going to be tamei. You can combine one with the other. Well, you don't have to go through all the negoyim. That's Rabbi Akiva. Yeah. But he's saying, what do you have to go through all of them? To tell you, to tell you any kohen here, he doesn't mean a kohen, because we said the kohen only has to say the word tamei. He doesn't have to know none of the dinim. You can have even a zor, a yisol, coming to determine if it's considered a nega that is matame, any baki. So he says this person who's saying before the kohen that this has a din as tuma has to be baki in all the shemes, and that's why we mentioned all the names. Tamei, yeah, he relies on this person who's a baki, but the guy has to be baki in all the names. So look how he said it. He said it let us say Mikrein Beya Ulamayla, right? So if Mikrein Beya, you want to say means with Ulamayla, means with its Av, Mikrein Beya with Ace, then the Ilu Misid Heichel Ulamayla Kama. Then he should have said also, and sits line with the one above it, which is its Av. But obviously, you're not talking about that it's a tula that you combine it with Av. You're saying that any color that goes above Krein Beya, you can be mitzarif.
Not below?
Of course, not below is not tummy. But we're trying to bring out, it has nothing to do with Av and Tula. If we're bringing you a raya to Rabbi Akiva, we follow the levels of colors. Because if we, according to Rabbi Yeshua, the way he asked this question, he asked it as if we go according to the level of colors. Because if we went according to the others, so he should have said Mikrein Beyo Lamaila, which means with its Av, and it should have said Misid Heichel Lamaila with its Av. But he didn't say it. Misid Heichel, but Misid Heichel Lamaila Kama. Is that you're not following Av and Tuliv's Av? From this that he didn't say it from Sid Heichel and above. Shmami no Shmi Leilu Rabbi Akiva the Amma Kulub Labahades Eis Mitzvah. Oh, that's a separate bit. Shmami no Shmi Leilu Rabbi Akiva. You have a raya for Rabbi Akiva. You're going according to the levels, and also Dama Kulub Labahades Eis Mitzvah. By Seis we said according to Rabbi Akiva everything is Mitzvah because it says Sapachas by Seis. So you can have, it teaches us, it doesn't have to be just one level of white below Se'ez. It could be two levels, like Kreim Beya, you have Sid in between, and then go Se'ez. So he says, by Se'ez, you can even have two colors lower, and it combines. So it tells you Se'ez, because you have Se'ez, then Sid, but Kreim Beya. So Kreim Beya could be combined with Se'ez, so could Sid. Says the Gemara, so the Dilma effect, the Gemara, how do you know that's the Pshat? Maybe he says V'Tildasa, and really the same thing as Maheres V'Tildasa. He only brought down Krein Beya Ulabayla, right? Which means it's Av. Why didn't he say Sid? He says, like he brings down from Rashi, a Reichel, a peddler, doesn't have to enumerate every material, every single merchandise he has. You give one mashal. Just like Krein Beya or Lamaila means it's told over there, maybe it means also, and so too by Sid and by Hadas. But he didn't have to mention it because the Reichel doesn't go through all his merchandise. Rather have a raya, so we don't have proof. He's just telling you the way that Yeshua asked the kasha is no raya that when he asked his father that we're following the levels of the colors. We don't know. Maybe it means to the B'diyav. So where do we know that we follow the levels of the colors? So he says the Gemara, element of Rabbi Chanina, only from Rabbi Chanina. Rabbi Chanina had said marshal the Rabbi Akiva. The Rabbi Akiva's gave a marshal in order to understand how you're mitzaref. To what is it compared to? To 4 kaises of milk. In one case fell 2 drops of blood. A second case 4, double the 2. And then double the 4, 8. And another one fell 12. But he says, others say sheish esay Others say because you're going from 8, it should be double to 16. So he says, Shakulam Maris Loivin Hain, they're all in the get of white. They're still called Loivin. Rather, but we're going according to the levels. You have white color, the lowest color is 16, the next color is 8, 4, and 2. So you see, you're following according to the order of the colors. You're not going according to the Tula B'Av. Says who says so? Because look how he divided it. He divided it 2, 4, 8, 16. Why did he do it in such an order? It should have been 2 with 8 and 4 with 16. I mean, if you're going Tudlas Vaves, he went in the order 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 8, and 16. Okay, says Yemada Ema the Shamit Le Rabbi Akiva Apostle. Maybe Rabbi Akiva goes according to the levels of colors when it comes to the saras that's called pasuch. Pasuch means that it's mixed with red. But something that's becholok, which is completely white, no mixture. Like, oh no, pasuch means a mixture of red. But maybe by choluk, which is only white but different shades of white, maybe there, mi shamatli, who says we'll go according to the level of the colors, maybe we'll go according to the tulda bi'avis, tulda av.
Because the red takes away from the white.
The red makes it a whole different gedder, it's a whole different animal, so there maybe you go according to the levels. Essentially, and if you're going to want to say, he says, maybe we should say, just like you go according to the levels of colors by the Mitziras called Pasuk, by that kind, so maybe even by Cholok. And he says, Rashi says, there should be a difference between Pasuk and Cholok. There's no reason to say there should be a Chilik.
There is a reason, because one is...
No, he can't prove.
Doesn't have any red at all.
Okay, but that's not a reason why we shouldn't go according to the level, according to the order of the shades. So by Pasuk, the matter of Pasuk, do we follow the order of the colors? Well, Tanya, we learned from the Baraisa. Rabbi Akiva, Adam dam shabazeh v'shabazeh, red that's in the Baharis and the Sa'is, is kiyayin hamazuk b'mayim. It's like wine that's mixed with water. Ela shel Baharis as a kishelik. But in the Baharis, when it's mixed with others, it's a stronger wine. And we shall see deyayimena. But the next one is the seed. So you see, you're going the tul and the av. You didn't go. If Rabbi Akiva was, he said, you're going according to, because the next one is supposed to be seis, Baharis, then go seis. Which one did he say is the second one? Seed. Here, the Gemara is going to explain. If we're going, let's turn the page. If we're going according to the shades, shall tzema deya hayemenemi bayilei. He should have said seis, which is the color of tzemer. Baharis is the color of shelek, and then go seis. And then go seed. But instead, which one did he say in the Braisa? He started off with the color Baharis is Azak Yashelek, and the one that's dimmer, is a little more dimmer, is Shel Seed. He should have said Shel Tzemer. Is that right? Seis, which is Tzemer. He should have said, which is the color of Tzemer. That's what we learned before. So from these that he used Seed, is that right? We go to the Av. And we don't go according to the order of the colors. And you said we do by Pasuk. Says Gemara, you learned it wrong. Amri inachanami, you're right. It's a mistake. Hatanya, because we learned in another Braisa befedish that Rabbi Akiva says, Rabbi Akiva says by Pasuk that Rabbi Nasnaim loisham Rabbi Akiva shall see the deyayimenu. He didn't learn the second color. Tuba Harris was seed, that was the dimmer one. Ela rather shall tzema deyayimenu. Which is says that's how he learned it. So he didn't follow the order. In fact, you want to know on the Baharis Azahi. How do we know Baharis is a strong white color? Abaya said, it says in the pasuk, Bim Baharis Levana he is extra word. He Levana ve'inacharis Levana kamesa. Only Baharis is really strong white, and there's no other color that's as strong as the white. Okay. White supremacists. Yeah. Tell you about Baharis Amuka. Baharis, the white, is deep when it's with another color. It looks deeper. So it says in the pasuk. The color of white is deeper than the color of the skin. When you look in the shade. When it's shade, then you have the sun next to it. The sun looks much deeper than the shade. Seis, what seis? What color is that? Ain't seis elagabaya. Seis is raised up a little bit. It's not as deep as Baharis. Where do we see that? So it says in Yeshaya, on all these high mountains, and all on these hills, that are raised. So it shows that it's not as deep as Baharis. It's a little raised. Sapachas, which is secondary, Anoch Schlepper, Ein Sapachas Alotfela. Sapachas means that it's secondary. So it says in Shmuel Benegay to Eli that he was removed from his position of being a Kohen Gadol, but he wanted to serve as a Kohen. So he almost please give me any job, like even a secondary job. I should still serve as a Kohen. Eli was the Kohen Gadol in David HaMelech's times because he sinned. So because of his sin, it's really his children. They went to try to save the Aron from falling, as if the Aron can lay out of it.
They call the kabbalah to themselves.
And they took the kabbalas for themselves. Yes. That was the main thing. Yeah, they took the kabbalas for themselves. Rabbi Zayda. Rabbi Zayda says, Nemra levana baseis, v'nemra levana ba'beres. It says levana. So the Gemara is asking, sapachas. Where do we see that there's a secondary? Sapachas means a secondary to baheres as well. So the Gemara, because it says levana baseis, and it says the word levana by baheres. Ma levana. Where does it say? So he brings you the pasuk. What's the pasuk? Vehine seis. By seis it says levana be'er. It says the word levana, and by beheres it says ve'im beheres levana. He be'er. It says also levana. So we learn out that just like seis, ma levana amur b'seis, just like by the levana, but which says by seis yesh lo tefillah has a secondary color. A lower color, aflabana. Ha'amur ba'beheres yesh lo tefillah also has a secondary color, a lower color. The sister Tana in the Bryce we learned a little different. Where do we know that baheres also has a secondary color? He says hitla kosiv la sapachas bein seis la baheres. If you look in the pasuk, the word sapachas is written between seis and baheres.
What comes first? Beheres, no? First?
It says v'la seis. V'la sapachas, and then it says v'la baheres. In the middle, you have sapachas, so you can apply it to both sides.
Is it deeper white?
Baheres is a stronger white. You start from
Why does it say at the end?
minakal elakavi. You start okay. So he says. So, but in the middle is v'la sapachas, so you can apply it to both sides, to the seis part and to the baheres part. Loimelach to tell you loimelach kashem shetvil la seis kach tvil la baheres. Just like you have a secondary color for seis, you have for baheres. Says you want to seis katzem alavan. We said seis. What's the?
So what did we finish with? What according to Rabbi Kiva?
So according to that we finished before. That we go according to the order of the colors, not tulis ve'avis.
So what are they trying to bring out here now?
Just the color. Where is the market that baheres is a deep color white, and we're learning about the sapachas that there's a secondary color from both of them. And now we're asking, where do we know that seis is the color of white wool? Seis, katzem alavan, might sem alavan. Amar Abibi, Amar Abasi, tzema noki ben yomer. What does that mean? The white color of wool. So it means of a shepsela that was born that day. And what would they do? Shemechabnim boy lemelis. They would cover it right away with a leather cover, in order to preserve the color of white. That's the strongest white. That because it was they sold it, yeah, and they sold it for luxury clothing. That wool was so white. It was a luxury wool because they kept it and what? Yeah, something like that. Rav Chanina said, "Mashal Rabbanan Lamar Hadavar Dema." The mashal of the Rabbanan that they say we go the Tula with the Av, to what is it compared to? Says the Gemara. Yeah, absolutely. The two kings and two governors. The two kings, you have one king that's greater than the other. And then you have one governor that's greater than the other governor. Says the Gemara, that's according to Rabbanan. Hi, this that you gave me is fits more like Rabbi Akiva. You're going in order. You're going the top king, a lower king, and then the governor is lower than that king, and then you have a lower governor. Then you have two kings: the higher king, a lower king, a higher governor but lower than the king, and then a lower governor. So you're following like Rabbi Akiva. You're going according to the order of four. You're not going king, governor, like Tula B'Av and Tula B'Av. So it's not a good mashal. You're right. Elamalkish is l'mayla me'ipachid inavshei, or malkish shel zeh l'mayla me'ipachid inavshei. So you have to learn that this, the king and its governor, right, and then that's the higher king, and then you have the next king, and it's his governor. Yeah. Sagt die Gemara, warte, aber Abba Amar can go in Malka. You have a king, and then you have Al Kafta, which is a Mishnah Lamelech. It's a second in command,
Viceroy.
a viceroy, right? A Mishnah Lamelech.
Yosef, but Yosef was
Then you have Reifila, you have a minister, and then Bereish Galusa is even lower. So Reifila, there's 4 madrigas: Malka, Al Kafta, a king, a viceroy. Then you have Rufila is the minister, and then you have Reish Galusa, who was only for the Yidden, is the lowest one. But who Rufila was really for the king. That's not the viceroy. And the Reish Galusa worked with the Mishnah Lamelech. Says the Gemara, you're not doing the king with the Rufila, with the minister, and the Klafta and the viceroy with the Reish Galusa. You're going king, viceroy. You're going in the lower. So you're going according to the order. You're going Zelamalam is that? It's Mamish like Rabbi Akiva. Says you're right. He says like this: Elokagoi Malka B'Roifila. You have to learn the king and the minister. Ba'Klafta and the Mishnah Lamelech goes together with the Reish Galusa. So now it works. That's how it works. So yeah.
This one is connected.
That one. So it works perfect.
That's the
Rava says, "Kigoyin Shava Malka, the Melech of Paras, the Persian king, the Caesar and the king of Rome." Amle Apapa Rava, Apapa said to Rava, "Hey Menayu Adif, which of the 2 kings are greater?" Amalei, so Rava said, "V'choshai ka'achalei." Where you came out of the rock? He says, "What you were in Bayaris? You in the Val? You don't know what's going on. You don't know that the king of Rome is much greater." Puk Chazi Tiba, the man Sagi Ba'alma, go out and look. Which king is known, renowned in the world? Trump. Like it says. Like it says in the pasuk. It says that Rome will come and eat up the land, trample it, destroy, crush it to the ground.
I think Mara had such nebuah about
That was no, there isn't. The Amar of Yechanan, Zu Roime, that's referring to Rome, Chayeves, which is Shoyim, Shativa Yatsa B'chol Eilam Kolei. And it's clear that the Roman Caesar was more choshev than the king of Persia. So why Taka did he ask it? So he says, because Rava said, first Shavur Malka and then Caesar. I Taka is a Persia. So why do you mention that's why he asked? Which one is greater? But that's why our Papa is. But really, Rava had a reason to say Shavur Malka. He himself was from Persia. So he was afraid, so that's why. That's what Rashi says, not mine.
They're all like all his ministers. Trump is great.
Okay. Ravina Amar, Ravina says that the Kigoin Glima da Amar, he says you have a brand new garment of wool which shines. And but then you have a shachake, you have a worn out garment. And then you have Sedina. Sedina is a sheet, the chisna, of flax, a zaydin, but it's white, it's shiny. And then then you have one that's oizgirin, which is compared to the krain beya, to the membrane
Each of
of
them uses a
the.
different marshal.
Yes,
The same idea.
the same idea. I see we have so much time, so I'm going to go a little further. As sheyesh ba yediyabat chila, we learned. In order to be chayiv akav ma'ilav, you have to, by Tumah, you have to have an awareness before, and then a benelam, a senior moment, and then goes a yediyah after, then you'll be chayiv akav ma'ilav. Tanu Rabbona, the Rabbonu am gelent na braisim, and ein shein hakos v'daber ela v'tumas mikdash v'kadasha. How do you know the pasuk is talking about that he was tamei, and when he was tamei, he entered the Beis Hamikdash, or he ate kachim? How do you know that was the case? The pasuk only says v'ashrim. It doesn't say. It says if a person touched a sheretz or if a person touched a tummy mace, but it doesn't say what he did after. And it says v'ashrim. So how do you know the case is that he went into the Beis Hamikdash or he ate kachim? Says Gemara Bedinu.
You have to have vanilla, no?
Yeah, Benelim. There was a Benelim, but what happened after Benelim? What did he do? So how do you know the case?
What's the pasuk? It says vanilla.
V'ashrim. It says Benelim, but doesn't say v'ashrim.
It does say vanilla, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't say that he went into the Beis Hamikdash. It doesn't say. We had it yesterday. No, it doesn't say, when we looked at it, it doesn't say that he entered into the Beis Hamikdash. Okay, I have to find the pasuk. Okay, but the pasuk says V'ashim. That's how it ends off over there. It doesn't say that he entered in the Beis Hamikdash. Let me see if I have it here. The pasuk from before. Okay, I can't find it. So let's go further. If I find it later, I'll say the pasuk. But it doesn't say what it was. It says it ends off with Hashem. It says Gemara Bedino. This we can learn out from a svara. Hayil, since v'hizir the onish, since the pasuk gave a warning and gave the punishment of kares, somebody who's over al hatuma on the isub tuma b'mezid, that b'mezid you're going to be chayv kares. And in such a case, if he was a shoygig v'chiyuv korban, they will mechayv a korban ala tuma. If he did a b'shoygig, so on what kind of aveda are we going to be mechayvim b'shoygig a korban only if b'mezid is going to be chayv kares. Says Gemara, ma kishehizer v'onish ala tuma loy hizer v'onish ala tumas mikdas v'gadashav. This that you're going to be mechayvim b'shoygig a korban has to be such a aveda that if he didn't b'mezid, that he would be chayv kares, and that could only be by mikdash v'kadashim. Av kishechiv korban ala tuma loy chiv ala tumas mikdash v'kadashim. So to the shoygig is referring to that. It's one pasuk. In that pasuk where it talks about mezid, so the shoygig has to be the same case of entering into the Beis Hamikdash in kachim. Maybe say this pasha is talking about by a tomei she'achal truma b'shoygig, he ate truma b'shoygig. Shagam there he's a honest. There too the Torah gives a warning and a punishment, but misa b'dei shemayim, right? So, says the Gemara loy ashkechan. We don't find throughout the whole Torah avoin misa when you're dealing with the sin of the basic that you're going to be chai misa b'dei shemayim. That the chayiv aleib, that a person will be chayiv b'shoygig, or korban, that will be chayiv a korban.
That can't be by truma.
So therefore, it can be by truma. A chatas could only come on a korban chatas could only come on a b'shoygig only if b'mezid one would be chayiv kares, and by truma if he ate truma b'truma, there's no kares. It's misa b'dei shemayim b'mezid, yeah. So therefore, there's no carbon. Zakimara ema hanimili say. Maybe we should say, when do we say there's no chiyuv chatas? Only if b'mezid was kares is becarbon kavua. By such a carbon chatas that there's no difference between the asher and the ani. There's carbon oil b'yeda. There's a much lower level chatas. Then there's a more severe chatas, which is called chatas kavua. Asher ani, all everybody the same. You got to bring the same one. So maybe when b'mezid is kares, so b'shoygig he brings a chatas kavua. That he has to bring that strong chatas.
Maybe that's what the pasuk is.
Maybe yeah, ava oil v'yodet. But the case where we're talking about by oil v'yodet, so we'll say is not. You don't need that it should be b'mezid kares. Even if b'mezid is misa b'dei shemayim, for that you can bring a cup of oil v'yodet.
Which kind of korban is that?
Oil v'yodet goes according to the wealth of the person. It goes up and down. A chatas kavua there's no difference. It's more severe. Ani and Ashi is the same. That would be for if b'mezid chayv kares. So if he does b'shoygig, he has to bring that strong chatas kavua. But when the mezid is only chayv misa b'dei shemayim, maybe he brings a cup of oil v'yodet. That's his kasha.
When there's no kares.
Right. When there's no kares b'mezid, it's only misa b'mezid. Midi dehava ashmias koil v'abitis v'sayim. Just like by Shmias Koil, if somebody knows Eidos and he doesn't say Eidos, or by a Shvua Sheker, there you're Chayiv a Kab Mo'el B'Yoret, even though b'mezid you're not Chayiv Kares there. So maybe I'll better say here, a Tamei that ate Truma, even though there's no Kares, it's only Misa B'dei Shemayim, maybe he does bring a Kab Mo'el B'Yoret.
That's what the pasuk is talking about.
Yeah. And for the Gemara Amakra, it says in the pasuk, "Oyiga b'tumas adam l'chol tumas asher yitma ba." The word "ba" is extra. Ba, the extra "ba" is l'miyute truma, comes to exclude truma.
So we're not talking about truma.
It cannot be truma. It's excluding truma. In fact, your mother, how do you know? Maybe it's how do you know to exclude truma? Aim ba, the extra word ba. Let me use the mikdash. Comes to exclude mikdash. Does it cannot bring a carbon oil of yoda. He has to bring a chatas kavua.
So when do you bring a
By truma. So he says why the kivan, since it's so chamor that the mezit is chayiv kares loy sagile. It's not going to be good because oil of yoda. You can bring a cheap carbon, right? The masi carbon kavua. I would say he has to bring a hefty carbon. So for the Gemara, Kari Rava alei the Rebbe. Rava said praise about Rebbe. Doila mayim mi beiras amukim. He shavt masa from the teeth. He goes from whatever's hidden and he brings out chidushim from there. The Tanya that we learned in Abraisa, he says, it says by the pasuk that details how a person is the chayiv a carbon early because of his tumah. It says oy nefesh ashetik b'chol davar tamei, and it says oy beniflas chayat meya, oy beniflas behemat meya. So Rabbi Omer Ekani Chaya, it was enough for to say in the pasuk benivlas chayat meya. It says oy nefesh asher tiga b'chol davar tamei, and then he gives two cases: oy benivlas chayat meya, oy benivlas behemat meya. So Rabbi says, why do I need benivlas behemat meya? You could have been, it would have been sufficient enough benivlas chay behema, and behema is bechal chaya. Yeah. So Gemara behema lama nemra. What does it have to say? Says the Gemara nemra kam by the pasha of kav meilav. It says behemat meya. Nemra lahalon by a tomei that ate kachim b'mezid. It says behemat meya. Ma lahalon, just like the behemoth meya that says by kachim is betumas kodesh, is talking about somebody who was tamei and ate kodesh. Avkan, so too when it says behema by kachim is talking about the same case tumas kodesh where he was tamei and it was known from him that this meat was kodesh.
How does he learn that?
Because you have the extra word benivlas behemoth meya. It should have said benivlas chaya. But he's saying it should have said. It shouldn't have said behema. Just choose the first one.